Gametogenesis is the first stage in sexual reproduction, right? So, the production of gametes from reproductive organs known as gametogenesis. So, in female reproductive system, the production of secondary oocyte from the oogonial cells called as oogenesis. So, oogenesis is a complex process comparatively with spermatogenesis, whereas spermatogenesis initiates from the at the age of puberty in male humans, whereas oogenesis starts initiate before birth of the female child. How wonderful it is! So, at the age of 6 to 8 weeks of fetus, the fetus age is 6 to 8, the oogonium present in the ovary start mitotic division and forms numerous cells. They are called as oogonial cells. At the age of 28th week of fetus, almost 6 to 7 lakhs of 6 to 7 millions 6 to 7 millions of oogonial cells found in the female fetus. I'm talking about 28th week of fetus. So once they reach the higher number of oogonial cells, then they stop dividing and they start degenerating. Remember, after birth in female child, no more oogonial cell will be added. The oogonial cells, whatever has to form, they have to form before the birth only. So the 6 to 7 millions of oogonial cells at the age of 28th week of fetus start degenerating, and when the female child comes to puberty stage, the 60,000 to 80,000 oogonial cells will remain. 60,000 to 80,000 oogonial cells remain in the ovary of female child. Means they start degenerating, and finally at the age of puberty, means at the stage of puberty, they becomes into their number becomes into 60,000 to 80,000. Remember, no more cells are adding, but they are, in spite of that, they are degenerating. So at the age of puberty, the oogonial cells found in 60,000 to 80,000, they start dividing under meiotic division. They start meiotic division and they get arrested at prophase 1. Meiosis 1, prophase 1. Such arrested cells at prophase 1, the oogonial cells which get arrested at prophase 1 is known as primary oocyte. The difference with oogonial cells and primary oocyte is oogonial cells undergo meiotic division, but the meiotic division doesn't complete. The thing is, the division starts at the stage of meiosis 1 and prophase 1, they stop their division. Such a cell is known as primary oocyte. This primary oocyte forms a layer of follicular cells upon it. When the layer of follicular cells forms, then it's said to be primordial follicle. When a primary oocyte forms a layer of follicular cells, a flattened follicular cells known as primordial follicle. Primordial follicle inside primary oocyte there. This primordial follicle forms granulosa cells upon the primary oocyte. So such group of granular cells known as membrana granulosa. The stage where membrana granulosa with primary oocyte known as primary follicle. The difference between primordial follicle and primary follicle is there is a flattened follicular cells found in primordial follicle. This flattened follicular cells becomes into cuboid shape and divide and form the stratified, means they form the layer wise, more than one layer. This stage is called as primary follicle. Primordial follicle, a single flattened layer is there. Whereas in primordial follicle, single flattened layer. Whereas in primary follicle, stratified follicle, membrana granulosa. This is called as membrana granulosa. Membrana granulosa. How primary follicle can be defined? Primary oocyte with membrana granulosa is known as primary follicle. That's it. Now, a membrana granulosa, primary oocyte between a homogeneous membrane will form. Membrana granulosa and primary oocyte between a homogeneous membrane will form, that is called as zona pellucida. Zona pellucida will form between primary oocyte and granular cells. Clear? Later, the lowermost granular cells, this is primary oocyte, then zona pellucida, then granular cells, membrana granulosa. Lowermost granular cells condense and form the corona radiata. Corona radiata. So corona radiata, zona pellucida with membrane granulosa. Such a stage of primary follicle is known as cumulus euphorus. Cumulus euphorus is a stage where zona pellucida, corona radiata and membrana granulosa cells will be. Cumulus euphorus. Then the membrana granulosa cells. Now what happens here? In membrana granulosa, there is a fluid-filled cavity will appear, that is called as antrum. Antrum start growing in size so that the membrana granulosa cells become condensed, means expands and condense, and membrana granulosa innermost condensed layer will form. Such layer is known as theca interna. See, cumulus euphorus, the membrana granulosa cells are there. So the cells condense and form theca interna, and outward the cells form the theca externa. Membrana granulosa cells differentiated into theca interna and theca externa. Once this theca interna forms, it is able to produce the female sex hormone known as estrogen. Estrogen is a female sex hormone released from theca interna of cumulus euphorus. Then this estrogen work on primary oocyte present inside. So from here primary oocyte will be there, which is arrested at meiosis 1, prophase 1. So this estrogen starts prophase 1, means it helps to continue the meiotic division. So that this is under influence of this estrogen, primary oocyte undergo the complete the first meiotic division and form unequal division, form the secondary oocyte. Secondary oocyte and a polar body. This is under influence of estrogen. Estrogen is formed from theca interna of cumulus euphorus. So this secondary oocyte again has to divide. Meiosis takes place in two divisions, right? And this secondary oocyte undergo meiosis 2 division, and at the stage of prophase 1, prophase 2 and metaphase 2, it stops. So it stops at metaphase 2 stage. So the secondary oocyte arrested at metaphase 2 and with follicle is known as secondary follicle. Cumulus euphorus inside, primary oocyte there, under influence of female sex hormone estrogen, it start divided because it arrested at prophase 1 and start dividing and stopped at meiosis 2 and metaphase 2 stage. Such cell is known as secondary oocyte. Secondary oocyte with follicle is known as secondary follicle. Secondary follicle, upon the proliferation takes place and it becomes into, it matures and becomes into tertiary or Graafian follicle. Secondary oocyte with follicular cells, mature follicular cells or mature follicles known as tertiary or Graafian follicle. This Graafian follicle ruptures and releases secondary oocyte. The production of secondary oocyte from Graafian follicle is known as ovulation. Ovulation. The process of forming secondary oocyte is called as oogenesis. This is the oogenesis, and rupturing Graafian follicle and releasing the ovum. Such secondary oocyte is known as ovulation. There is a difference between oogenesis. Oogenesis is a production of secondary oocyte but not releasing. During ovulation, Graafian follicle ruptures, then secondary oocyte will release. Such stage is known as ovulation. So a fully matured ovum, the ovum, you can't say ovum, it is a secondary oocyte, right? The secondary oocyte has a cell membrane is known as vitelline membrane, and upon zona pellucida are there, right? Zona pellucida, vitelline membrane between the cavity is known as perivitelline membrane, where the polar body exists. So polar body, I told you here, this exists in a perivitelline membrane, and this is the cell membrane of ovum is a vitelline membrane, and upon as we know, zona pellucida is present. Zona pellucida. It is not mature because it is in the stage of meiosis to metaphase 2 stage. It is get arrested, so that you can't say the released secondary oocyte during the ovulation is not matured one. So this is regarding ovum. So what about the follicle upon this ovum? So the follicle, Graafian follicle, after releasing the secondary oocyte, so this proliferate, this ruptured Graafian follicle or ruptured ovarian follicle or ruptured tertiary follicle becomes into carpus luteum. Carpus luteum. Carpus luteum is a ruptured ovarian follicle. So this granulosa cells which are formed from and developed, the granulosa cells mature and proliferate and form the carpus luteum. Carpus luteum is acted as an endocrine gland which release an important hormone known as progesterone. And the lifetime of carpus luteum, which is generally we call as yellow body. Ruptured ovarian follicle is called as yellow body, whose lifetime is dependent upon the ovum whether fertile or non-fertile. If the ovum or secondary oocyte get fertile, what happens? Fertile carpus luteum lifetime becomes 4 months. If it is get fertile with sperm, then whose carpus luteum lifetime is 4 months. Until 4 months it releases a progesterone and it maintains a pregnancy. Then after 4 months it degenerates and forms the corpus albicans. Corpus albicans, which generally called as white body. So once it becomes into corpus albicans, there is no role of releasing progesterone, because at the time of 4th month of pregnancy, placenta will form. The placenta releases progesterone, so that corpus luteum has no role. So if it is not fertile, if the secondary oocyte not fertile with any sperm, carpus luteum exists for only 14 days. During this 14 days it releases progesterone, and this phase is known as luteal phase, in order to send this secondary oocyte and the ruptured endometrium. As we know, in menstrual cycle we have studied that after luteal phase the endometrium will rupture and release through the bleeding called as menstruation. For the process of menstruation, before menstruation there are several changes occurs in the female reproductive system under influence of progesterone. So corpus luteum lifetime based on fertilization. If the fertilization occurs, the corpus luteum lifetime is 4 months, and 4 months it releases progesterone. Once placenta forms, corpus luteum degenerates. If the secondary oocyte are not fertile with sperm, then corpus luteum lifetime becomes only 14 days. This 14 days it maintains a menstrual cycle, second stage called as luteal phase. So luteal phase, it carries the luteal phase by influence of progesterone. So this is regarding oogenesis and ovum and corpus luteum.